And here's our Zerg player in the red at the top left-hand corner of the map. He had an unsuccessful Brood War career. This is not his best matchup, but he's showing us that he can still succeed.
TSL Revival.
Here's TSL Revival. Before losing to Ryung, who's a Terran last season, he actually beat Hart in his qualifiers at Butterfly Fleck, so he can beat some Terrans at the very least. Anyway, here's our Terran player though.
Ensare.
Doesn't get much of an introduction today. Has not been playing a lot of versus Zerg lately, so
yeah, when you think of Ensare, you think of TVT a lot. You see him in a lot of TVTs.
He's playing a lot more TVT lately. The last time he really had a big match against Zerg in Korea was Cezanne in the up and down matches in season 1. So,
right.
And we're gonna see a hidden barracks, a Macarax.
Yeah,
it's not
right
really
at the gold base.
Not really that close, so I wouldn't. Well, it's a small max, so anything's kind of a proxy in a way. But is he gonna put a second Rax? That is natural.
Oh, and he cut an SCV, so the timing of that barracks looks pretty normal.
And he does. Yeah, he put another Rax down, so yeah, good call on that. It's going to be a 2 Rax, and Revival might not see it coming.
Yeah, because when he gets that drone there, he's not going to think it's anything out of the ordinary. He didn't get gas, cut an SCV to make that second barracks. So it's going to look pretty normal when he gets here with this drone.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, actually. That's a cool strategy.
Yeah, I like that move.
And Revival went hatch first.
Now, the other thing to note about this map is the natural is really far from the main, so it's very hard to pull drones and defend against SCV all-ins or bunkering. Oh, he almost got that SCV. SCV really low on health.
Couple more hits. Oh, the barracks completes. And that SCV is forced to run off with only 10 hit points. And the second SCV is actually chilling in the middle of the map. I wonder if he's going to see that SCV and wonder if something's up.
Oh, is he going to scout the barracks? Oh, he sees it.
Oh, on the right side of the map, that drone just saw the barracks. So Revival now knows what's going on. Is he going to be able to respond in time? He's pulling drones. A bunker goes down, but the Marines nowhere near it yet, so these drones are going to chase back the Marines. The drones are going to chase back the Marines.
A little bit of missed micro by Ensare. Could have microed against those drones much better, but now the drone's in retreat. The bunker about halfway done. Does he see the bunker? He sees it. He is going to make a spine crawler, it looks like. At least he wants to, but
Crawler goes down.
Ensare in a pretty good position right now. Does have a lot of Marines up here and more rallying in. And with that first bunker completing, like I said, the natural kind of open, kind of far away. It could be to his advantage to just kind of run past and go into the main if he wants to. He is making a second bunker in range of that hatchery.
Yeah, he can use the first bunker to protect his Marines so they can protect the SCV building. The second bunker, which is in range of that hatchery. I think it's out of range of that spine crawler too. A beautiful spot.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's having to dodge back and forth. He gets back to the bunker.
Oh man!
Revival spine crawler completes.
And it can hit the bunker.
Oh, it can.
And we don't know. I believe the bunker can hit the hatchery, so even if the spine crawler can hit it, he can repair it. He does have 3 SCVs here, and that'll be plenty enough to repair, and it can hit the hatchery. Revival in a lot of trouble, Moletrap.
Yeah, and he can't hit the SCVs either, so he can't stop him from repairing that bunker. Well, he just targets down that hatchery. More Marines coming in here. Revival's in trouble. He doesn't have a lot of Zerglings.
And losing a few here and there. Forces to cancel on that spine crawler, and that hatchery just taking so much damage. No command center yet, though, for Ensare, so he's really committing to this right now.
Yeah, he's really got to get something done here. And
that hatchery getting low.
Oh, no. Hatchery's very low. Here comes it with the Zerglings to try and finish this off, to try and save his hatchery. And it's not going to happen.
That was really poor control by Revival. Just threw away some of those Zerglings. Now the spine crawler can be targeted down. There's just so many Marines. And I think he will just target that down in just a second.
Yeah, those Zerglings just, if there was only the one bunker, it could have happened, but with the second bunker there's too much protecting him, and hatchery goes down. Revival down to 1 base now. Saved most of his drones at the very least.
And command center has been started for Ensare, meanwhile back at home. It's looking pretty bad for Revival, though. I mean, he's going to try to do a Zergling run by here. There aren't that many Marines back at home to defend. In fact, I think Ensare realizes this, sending some of his Marines back right now.
I don't think he even has gas at home, does he?
He just started.
Revival.
Oh, Revival. No, he does
Yeah,
not.
so
He's just now starting his first
there we go.
extractor.
So yeah, he doesn't even have speed to try and do a counter with very easily. And he's kind of stuck there. He's going to run
Oh
his...
man, those Spine Crawlers running back could be the worst choice he's ever made. But he's got to do something with them. And luckily, Ensare did not snipe that one Spine Crawler. So he's going to be able to have a pretty fortified defense, at least at his main.
Now, here's the thing, is even though he is getting that extra base, he actually stopped producing SCVs for that attack. So he's actually only at 19 SCVs to 16 drones. So for a short time, a very short time, Revival won't be too far behind. He might be able to get some sort of one-base counterattack in while Ensare is teching or trying to expand or something like that.
Yeah, Ensare, oddly enough, leaving his bunker there, so he just wants to make sure that nothing funky is going to happen. So keep that there. Doesn't want to salvage it just yet, and he might want to basically just try to pick off some lings if they try to come out, because the bunker does cover the exits. Both of them, in fact. So Ensare is transitioning quite nicely, got both of his gases up immediately, made double factory. I think he's just going to crank out a bunch of Hellions and try to continue to keep his opponent on one base and keep the drone count low. Zerg speed just now starting.
Wow.
For Revival.
Yeah, really late Zerg speed. Yeah, and Ensare actually might want to get those Marines out of there, actually get them back home.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he's leaving them there
at this point. Like, I can see leaving them there for a little bit, make sure he doesn't get an expansion up again immediately after it died, but he's going to lose them if he leaves them there, basically. But in the meantime, Revival has just been droning up, actually, trying to attack, and that is a Baneling Nest being morphed in the back of his base.
And not that surprising. It's pretty much the only option he has left. It's not like he can really Nidus or anything like that. That's not going to work.
Yeah, not unless...
So busting down is pretty much his last option. But Siege mode is already on the way. One of those factories is producing Hellions. The other one, though, has gotten that tech lab. And Ensare in such a good spot.
I don't know if you saw that, but he actually just snuck Zerglings around the top of the vision of that bunker. They are now going down the side of the map. He's going to morph him. Oh! Hellion catches him, though, and the speed is not up yet. That is too bad for Revival. He's going to lose those links. And he was planning on doing like a hidden Banelings.
Crouching Zergling, hidden Baneling.
That's right. Oh, how does he even see that? Somehow he does, and almost kills all those Zerglings, actually.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't a line of sight blocker, just some grass.
Oh. So he does have some Zerglings out, though, but it's like half as much as he had before, so
yeah,
I don't think it'll work if he tries to bust.
Siege mode is going to be up in just a few seconds, and Revival trying to remake that hatchery, and Ensare just going to let him, at least for now. I think he's just going to regroup and go for a push. Does salvage that bunker.
Yep. So Revival's going to go ahead and take that expansion while he's threatening possible Baneling bust. And in the south, is he morphing Banelings, or is he just kind of chilling?
No, he's just kind of chilling. The Zergling's taking a break.
And a single Zergling runs in and scouts the composition, scouts the expansion.
Revival got to be a little bit upset when he sees that many siege tanks out.
Yeah.
Even a bunker going up for Ensare, just being very, very safe. He knows how ahead he is.
And oh, nice split by Ensare.
Yeah, you never want to trade one Baneling for one Marine.
No. That was actually pretty cool. He's like, oh, 4 Banelings, I've got 4 Marines.
Split them all up.
4 different ways.
Definitely not a fair trade. Got ripped off.
He got ripped off there.
It's like when you were trading Pokemon cards when you were a kid. Friends like, oh, I'll trade you this. Oh, he's got
wow, he
sneaks
actually
the
let the Banelings in, but he's got a bunch of SCVs gathered there. What? Ensare can like perfectly split 4 Marines, but instead sacrifices all of his SCVs to a couple Banelings.
Yeah, he needs to pull those SCVs and attack the Banelings with them one by one. I'm not entirely sure why he's got them all lined up like that.
But up at the Natural, who was just rebuilt, he's sieging up. He was concentrating on that, and that's why he wasn't paying attention. A little bit of multitasking fail by Ensare, but Revival's natural expansion is now under siege again, or under attack again.
Well, literally under siege. There are siege tanks there, Mole Trap.
Yeah, I guess they are more literally under siege because he's not actually attacking the hatchery yet. So giving Revival a chance, and this is actually a bad move by Revival, going a little bit too early with Banelings when there's tanks. Manages to take out all the Marines regardless, and the Zerglings do actually clean up rather well. I thought he was going to be a little bit better off waiting until he had more forces since he wasn't forced to attack.
Yeah, he's killing all the tanks, and I have to say Ensare is following this up
really good.
Ensare following this up really sloppy, Mole Trap.
Yeah.
The third base for Revival's already up, and I don't want to say that, I don't want to call it yet, but there's a possibility that he could try to make a comeback. I mean, we're almost on even footing right now. In fact, the worker counts 44 SCVs to 45 drones. So Revival playing it safe, playing it standard, and just running some Banelings in when it was the optimal time.
I wonder if Ensare might even like, you know, sometimes when you like, you get a really good early attack, and like they fend it off, but you're like, oh, I've got such an advantage, like I barely need to play this game anymore.
Exactly.
And you relax, you're like, I'll just take another base and macro up, it'll be cool, and then I'll attack him in like 7 minutes and he'll die. And Ensare kind of did that, but didn't expect Revival to like really have a good preparation for it.
Exactly.
And now he's thinking like, oh crap, I didn't kill him 7 minutes later.
He saw the third base, now he knows. He knows what's going on.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I have to actually take this game seriously now.
Blair just finished for Revival. He is getting +1 melee attacks right now. Finally, Ensare starts his third command center, realizing, oh, he even called down a supply. We caught that on screen, Ensare. Isn't that embarrassing? His friends are going to go tell him, Ensare, we saw you call down a supply on stream. He's like, no, you didn't.
And there's 2 of them there, too.
He's like, I was trying to build a tech lab, I accidentally pressed X. Spire's on the way for Revival. Very quick Spire right after that lair.
I accidentally pressed X and then clicked on one of my supply depots.
Yeah, I was just trying to build a tech lab. No big deal.
Ensare trying to push out. He looks like Ensare might be trying to take his high yield, actually. He's kind of pushing up tanks there.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to go for. A smart move. He's definitely got a solid army still. So it'll be relatively easy for him to defend that with a planetary. So we're seeing kind of a similar situation to what we saw last game. Ensare trying to take that gold third base. Turtle up, and we'll see though, once his income starts to really increase, how he macros this game. So Zergling's going to try to run by.
Wow. Yeah, and Baneling speed is nearing completion. He's producing lots of Zerglings and Banelings. He's got, again, going for that.
Zerglings are cornered here. Medevac is out, unfortunately, for Revival. Oh, some Banelings though.
Yeah, oh no, Banelings going into the supply line. SCV's trying to run. They are probably going to get away.
Some good Banelings, and Ensare actually having some very weak SCVs.
One of the Banelings must have gotten closer. Or maybe it was the siege tanks splashing those SCVs. Anyway, a large force for Revival mounting in the middle of the map. Maybe thinking about denying that third base for Ensare. Ensare is unsieged at the moment, and might be in a little bit of trouble if he gets caught unsieged. Moving up to this third of Revival.
The Revival does have some pretty good map control, but the scan goes down. Revival making 10 Banelings right now. He's got a significant amount of Banelings. They do have speed and +1 attack, whereas Ensare has just +1 attack for his Marines, but excuse me, not for his tanks.
And a little counter going on here, picking off Marines, and here he comes in behind those tanks to pick off the reinforcements, joining the push.
And those Banelings are coming into the natural mole trap. They could go right for those weakened SCVs.
Oh, they could do so much damage. He's going to take out the bunker. And SCV's going down to Zerglings. Oh, tank stops those Banelings from getting too far in. And forced to retreat.
Nice hold. That was a close call, though.
That was really close. But the reason he held is... Whoa. Okay, yeah, the Zergling's going to die. The reason he held is because he drew back his entire force, was just trying to seize the third, so that push was completely thwarted by the counter.
Exactly. So even though, exactly what Moletrap's saying, guys, is that even though that attack didn't do that much damage, it bought Revival a ton of time to get that third base, up and running, and it's kept it alive.
Ensare's gotten his third up, though, of course, at the same time. So that's something that Revival needs to worry about. Mutas are out now. I saw the Spire earlier. I didn't see the Mutas in production. So now he needs to worry even more about counterattacks.
Oh, and the cool thing about what he's doing with those Mutas is once the scan wears off, he can actually go over that high ground and hit the tanks, and the Marines can't do anything about it without him scanning. That's what he had planned with that. And we are going to see another Baneling and Speedling run by, going around the map, trying to get into that second entrance to the natural.
Oh, and Ensare doesn't see this one coming, I don't think.
He's going to send just a few Zerglings, I think, to check to see if there are any siege tanks nearby. He's going to send all the Banelings in. Here they come.
Banelings coming in.
The tanks are unsieged.
And he's just going to go ahead and kill those tanks with the Banelings.
Oh, the SCVs! Oh my god, so many SCVs!
SCVs!
And more Banelings coming into the main base!
Oh, he's going to take out every single
SCVs.
SCV.
Oh my god, Moletrap, that was carnage!
Ensare getting absolutely slaughtered.
Hitting his face.
Going for a desperate counterattack here, and he might even just take out the third. Revival's like, I just took out everything. I'm going to sack my third, mount a defense. Now, he doesn't actually have a lot, so it's possible Ensare could do a pretty good counterattack. That is a strong push, but his base is in tatters. Down to 11 SCVs left.
Yeah, he needs to crank out some Banelings right now to sack that third base, prepare to kill that army. All he has to do now is kill that army. He's got Zerglings, of course, running through the main, camping those production facilities, and Snare's in a lot of trouble. He's got to win with this push.
And yeah, he's sneaking around some stuff to the bottom. Yeah, all he needs to do is just make a bunch of stuff, Zerglings and Banelings, and just A-move them in there and take everything out once. And here comes, from the counterattack, not the best angle for those Zerglings, but he's actually going with the Mutas to distract the Marines and taking out the tanks. Banelings landing, but not doing the most damage. And, oh, watch out, Mutas, watch out! No, get out of there!
Oh, man, losing so many Mutas. Why is Revival not pulling his Mutas?
Oh.
Now, he wants to engage at that small choke point right there when the Marines come in with his Banelings. That's where he wants to trap them. Looks like it's there, sneaked around the back. Here he comes.
Revival actually bringing his Zerglings out of Ensare's main.
Attacking a planetary.
Trying to attack the planetary. And I think they might have just been A-moved there on accident. Those 3 tanks are doing so much damage. They're holding Ensare in this game. Revival down to 1 base now, essentially.
But if he kills this natural and all the drones there, this is a really close game, Bulltrap.
This is actually a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. Ensare's doing so much damage with these push. Revival kind of thought he had the game in the bag and is panicking a little.
He's trying to decide how he wants to engage this. He just has to get good hits off on those Marines. If he doesn't, he is going to lose this game. Revival has almost no resources, whereas Ensare has got 13 banked up right now.
Yeah, he's mining at the high yields still. So
yeah, he's adding production.
So he's actually
there
okay,
as well.
And he's building more barracks there. He still has no depots though. So, but yeah, this is looking a little bit bad for Revival. He's got a lot of stuff there. All he needs to do is take out that army. Well, actually, not even anymore. Now, if he takes that army, they're even in bases.
Yeah, he's having trouble. He can't really expand again. Oh, he's going to catch some of these Marines.
Oh, doesn't catch those Marines.
Tried his best, and oh, nice. They're landing on the high ground with those Marines. Could just pick them up again.
Yeah, and since he threw away his Mutas, he can't do anything about this anymore.
Exactly. Losing those Mutas was the turning point, I think, in this game. If he hadn't lost those Mutas, he should have been able to hold this really easily.
Yeah. And instead, those siege tanks still there.
And actually, Ensare's main is still mining. He didn't lose his main command center, so he's making SCVs out of that.
Oh, wow.
So he's got 2 command centers up right now. That gold base, as you see, get a shot of it right now, has got tons of production facilities cranked up there. And I think Revival is actually in trouble.
Yeah, this is actually kind of bad. Ensare's now producing units, whereas Revival is not. And here he comes in for one last-ditch attack to try and catch them while they're unsieged. This might actually work. The Marines pull up into the medevacs, but the tanks are left undefended. He might go for the high yield. There's too many Marines there. I don't know if it's going to work, but the Banelings have something to say about them. And he's going for the Marines.
No! Some of the Zerglings trapping the Banelings back. Here comes some more Banelings, though. This is such a close game, Bulltrap. I think if he had attacked the planetary, he would have killed some of those SCVs and some of the Marines, as well as the planetary. And now he threw away most of his army, and Ensare is mining still. Revival trying to get another base up at the 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, I think maybe, I don't know if he had enough Banes to take out that planetary, to be honest. If he had, that would have been a good choice.
Yeah, but if he messed it up, then it would have been a terrible choice.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
just trying to play it safer and get the Marines, but he messed up his micro just a little bit.
And we're going to have a pause here for a moment.
Pause.
Things are so tense that KRGSL needs to calm down a little bit. We're going to find out what's happening in just a moment. There might be a problem with the Korean Observer's computer or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe one of the players. It would be strange that the Korean Observer would pause for a player issue, but the player may not, his keyboard may have stopped working, might not be able to pause or something.
Yeah.
Showing
a shot there of Ensare.
Talk about a crazy pause. If I were a player, and I'd be like, jumping out of the booth saying, who paused that game?
Yeah, man. This happened the other day, too. I forget which game it was, but it was like, I remember it was on Metalopolis for some reason. Anyway,
we're back in the game
we're
now.
going to get back into the game. And the action has not stopped in the meantime. Ensare doing some drops here. This is a good move. He knows there's no mutas. He killed the Spire at the natural, so there's not going to be mutas. So he's like, oh, never mind. He didn't kill the Spire. He killed the Spire, which we're seeing a shot of now. Never mind. I thought he killed the Spire.
Yeah, I thought he killed it
because I remember
too,
it was in the natural. But
even so, he doesn't have the money for mutas. And he found the base.
That extra base.
He's going to kill so many drones. The drones almost have nowhere to run to. Marines stim and chase. Zergling's coming to try to help out. but with no mutas, the Marines should be saved by this medevac. Nope, not quite.
No, medevac was trailing behind. So he's going to be able to keep mining there. Now,
the main base for Ensare is completely mined out, and the gold base doesn't have that many minerals left.
Exactly.
So if he loses map control, he's going to be in deep trouble.
Snare's going to try and retake his natural. And here's that drop coming over to that, I don't even know what you call it, fourth base, second base?
It's the former natural.
The mining base of Revival. He's got 8 Marines and 2 medevacs there. And a drop in the main at the same time.
Yeah, he's actually targeting down the Spire.
Oh, 2 mutas are out though, 3. And he might not be able to get over land again. He's going to have to land his Marines, but that gives the Zerglings a chance to run in.
The Viking out, trying to do its best to pick off those mutas. Does take one out. The dropship looks like it will be able to drop. There's even an STV in that dropship. Repairing it, in fact, and the mutas are going to fall. Revival needs to be better about controlling his mutas. Drop in the main, though, does take out the Spire.
Yeah,
it's on that little high ground location.
Revival's multitasking, not quite being up to par, although Ensare's not either, kind of letting his dropships die, his medevacs rather. Viking has landed, is now going to get taken out by Zerglings. Possibly the first time it's ever happened that a Viking's gotten taken out by Zerglings.
Yeah, kind of a funny situation there. Well, let me give you guys some numbers. We've got 25 SCVs to 19 drones, and basically 1 mining hatchery versus a Ensare command center that's about to mine at a natural that's got a ton of minerals, plus the gold base that's mining, which is almost mined out, but he's going to lose his spawning pool, it looks like.
Oh no, these drops are just being so damaging. He lost his mutas again. There's a couple still in the middle of the map, but they're not responding to this. So having to run his spine crawlers back. And he's got some Zerglings there. Is he going to be able to send them in time? And a few Zerglings and a Queen are going to go ahead and clean that up. Force them back. Mutalisks chasing medevacs, but it looks like Ensare might just push across the map here with another medevac. No, yeah, Ensare, he's like trying to be really cute with these drops.
But there's no reason to almost.
There's no reason to, and he's kind of like, it's not working anymore, and he's still trying it.
Yeah, this is really a funky game because both players are in a tough spot, but neither of them have a huge convincing lead. Plus all those Zerglings side of Marines, and here comes the Banelings. Nice trapping the Marines with the Zerglings and hitting those Banelings on top of them.
Now that is not muddy water, that is actually creep on that part of the map, so those Banelings have a lot of speed. I mean, you can look at the map actually, if you can see the mini-map, there's creep freaking everywhere right now. So he's able to do very well with these Banelings.
And you can see everything that Ensare does.
Yeah.
He's like Lord of the Rings reference. He's like the eye, the all-seeing eye, and here comes the Banelings. If you trap these Marines with the Zerglings, they'll be able to get a ton of hits off, but it looks like beautiful splitting by Ensare.
Nice split, saves about half his Marines, maybe 3/4. But yeah, he saw that natural expansion back up though, and Ensare's now dropping mules and mining with a lot of SCVs from that base. So Revival's falling a little bit behind in that sense. Needs to get another base up or kill that base.
He wants to make another hatchery, but here, hold that thought.
Because he gets trapped.
Maybe he wants to run for the mineral line, but gets hit by a siege tank. Losing all those Banelings, doing no damage. The Banelings to hit the SCVs, does hit a lot of those SCVs. Zerglings want to finish some of them, but not being microed. That attack by Revival, he lost almost all of his army, did minimum damage, and that might be the nail in the coffin mole trap for him.
I'm a little disappointed, I gotta say, in Revival in his control. He's consistently been A-moving his Zerglings. You can't just A-move your Zerglings, which is an attack move, by the way, after Marines. The best thing is to move past them, surround them, and then turn them onto attack moves so they surround. If he'd done that to those Marines and trapped them so the Banelings could hit, he would win the game right now.
Exactly. Could have killed a lot of those SCVs as well. It looks like a little engagement. We're missing it in the front. Banelings did take out a few Marines, but there is a siege tank.
Hill being crept up.
Talk about a tense game.
Oh, and that the single Mutalist keeps trying to go in
and there's a ton of weakened SCVs in
damaged
there.
SCVs, yeah. But Ensare is moving a little bit across the map. He's trying to take out that base on the left. And he sieges up, but a little bit too late. Banelings and Zerglings are coming in, and everything gets wiped out for Ensare. He's going to lose his entire army again, and wow, forced to fall back.
This is the time where Revival needs to go, okay, I'm not going to die now. I need to make another hatchery. He's got to do it. If he doesn't make another hatchery, he's just going to fall so far behind. So far, he's been just not making the hatchery because he's scared of dying, but now he's cleaned up an army. He's going to clean up this drop very easily, and now is the time to make that extra hatchery, start getting his economy going a little bit better. He's got to do it soon, Moltrap.
Yeah,
Ensnare's got a fully mining base.
He's basically on one base, and oh wow, Ensnare even has a little bit of high yield left. Anyway, look at Ensnare's medevacing his SCVs over there, making sure they don't die to that one Mutalisk. This is really close though. Ensnare barely has an army. Revival barely has an army. One tank there is enough to drive those Banelings back. And rightly so. If he lost those Banelings to a couple volleys, it'd be really bad. Get back on creep and turn right around. And the Marines chase the Banelings to the creep.
Tag, you're it.
The Banelings chase the Marines off the creep.
They're playing a game of tag. They were.
Yeah.
It's like the Marines are it when they're off creep, but then when the Banelings are it when they're on creep. They just play tag.
They're like, I'm on base, you can't hit me.
Well,
wow, oh my goodness, that is a lot of Banelings.
Ensnare is up to 7 barracks now. No add-ons, just cranking out Marines. And in fact, he doesn't have a starport, so he's starting a factory right now. So those dropships that he's got left are the last dropships he's going to see for a long time.
And
then you have some of those creep tumors.
They're still trying to push across against this base. I'm surprised again, like you said earlier, that he hasn't tried to got another hatchery somewhere on the map. But there's 32 Banelings around and a couple siege tanks only.
Yeah, the problem is though, he doesn't really have that many mutas. In fact, I don't think he has any mutas out at all. He's got one Mutalisk out. So if the Banelings come at the dropships can just pick up all the Marines. And that's really, really troublesome. He's just continuing to crank out Zerglings, making 14 Zerglings right now. And I know that Ensnare is kind of getting closer to being mined out, but he's got a pretty decent economy. He can just lift that command center and put it somewhere else really easily. He needs another base. Finally, he is destroying those rocks. Oh, the last Muta of Revival.
No, run, Muta.
The rocks have been destroyed, so it looks like you may want to take that gold base. Revival in the middle of the map.
The Mutalisk survives with like 4 hit points.
Did.
He's really trying to take out this creep now. It's a good move. Oh, almost loses a lot of units, only loses a few. But yeah, there we go. Revival is taking that gold base, as you can see on the minimap. And Ensnare is actually near that too, so it's going to come down to this push. If Revival can hold this push off, he'll be okay, but if not, Ensnare's going to take out both of his bases.
Yeah, he's got to engage these Banelings perfectly, and Ensnare doing it just right, moving the siege tanks up one by one, slowly but surely. This is exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah, now Ensnare does have a ton of Banelings.
And he's got a nice flank set up actually near the gold base, so if he attacks from 2 sides, he may be able to sandwich Ensnare's army. I'm like yelling everything I say in Moltrap. I'm so excited about this game right now.
Yeah, no, he's trying to drop back there.
Like 3 Banelings for 1 Marine.
Wow, that's not a good trade at all. And the medevac still survives with just a few hit points left. He has a ton of Zerglings and Banelings though. He's trying to be cute with these drops again, but look at that. He's almost mined out on that new base. Ensnare needs to get something done here pretty quick. If Revival gets that high yield going at all, he's going to get overrun. Because right now, I think Revival still already has enough units to overrun him.
Exactly. In fact, he's lifted his command center. He's moving it right now. He's very vulnerable at this time. But because he has a nice siege tank spread, he's got a very good sense of map control right now, especially with those dropships. But the gold base is up now. Revival not with that many drones. He's really trying to make the toughest decision that Zerg player can ever make. Do I make drones or do I make attacking units?
Yeah, that's
where should I engage against siege tanks?
Do I make drones or do I make attack units is basically like the main question for all of Zerg play. And Ensnare, he's just being super cautious with these tanks, but he hasn't really been moving forward far enough to force an engagement. He hasn't been within range of the hatcheries yet. And now he's finally moving in here with a few Marines. He's been trying to prod with Marines, but it's not working. It's not baiting him into an attack.
And actually, his base that he took is very vulnerable to Revival right now, but Revival doesn't realize it. There's actually an attack pattern he could take. He's got a lot of units over there. He might start to go for it. It looks like he is going to go for it. Oh, he was thinking about it. I don't know what he's doing with those units over there.
They're taking dance lessons instead of and he gets him. The Marine's out of position, goes in with a ton of Zerglings. Banelings and Zerglings from the other side as well, and Ensnare's army gets completely wiped out. All Revival needs to do is counterattack that one mining base, kill the SCVs, and he will secure the game. I don't know if Ensare can pull anything out this time. He's got a small army moving back to try and protect.
Yeah, here's the problem. He's got that commander left. It didn't die, but where is he going to land it? It's going to be almost impossible to find a place. Revival just taking out what he can with these speedlings, cleaning up Marines that are isolated. Got to be a little bit more careful, though, with those Zerglings. Does not want to lose all of them.
Yeah, he lost about half of them, but due to the architecture of Belshire Beach, there's so many ways you could run out. He does escape out the other side, kind of through Ensare's production facilities, ironically enough. And I believe Ensare is trying to take, yes, never mind. I was going to say, I believe he's going all in, but he's actually just taking his third base back. Ensare's not out of this yet, but there's a ton of Banelings morphing in the middle.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the last engagement that would decide it, but Ensare is not out of it yet.
Basically, there's only one place where Ensare can mine right now, and it's very vulnerable. And I'm not sure if Revival should be doing this. Attacking it all the wrong ways. Baneling's getting targeted down, losing a huge amount of units. Does take out that one siege tank, though.
Yeah, loses a queen over there.
Both these players being over-aggressive at weird times.
Those spine crawlers becoming submarine spine crawlers. Be in the water instead. And oh, those Zerglings need to get out.
Away so many Zerglings. He's got to be a little bit more careful with how he engages.
Oh, there's Banelings. Okay, he is going to fall back. Yeah, he is at least targeting the right things. He hasn't been blowing Banelings on tanks that much. He's been mostly targeting them down with Zerglings as the Banelings chase the Marines. But some really good splits from Ensare, and here comes the Zerglings again.
He's got to put the Zerglings behind the Marines and then attack with the Banelings. He's not doing it. Looks like he will take out the siege tank, though, which is very important.
Yeah, exactly. He's been really consistently not trapping the Marines with his Zerglings. He really needs to do that if he's going to win this.
Exactly right. It's getting pretty tense here. Zerglings trying to camp some of the production facilities of Ensare right now, so they can cut off any reinforcements, any tanks that pop out. Guys, just be careful to not get too close to that planetary, though.
Yep. And Ensare has a bunker over at this new base, mining away. But here's the thing, Revival got the high yield right now. Let's actually check out the income tab real quick.
It's actually incredibly similar right now for both of these players.
Yeah, Revival is a little bit ahead, but not by far.
Part of that comes from mules, so when the mules stop mining, he does get ahead a little bit more significantly.
Yeah, now Ensare actually doesn't have any gas mines right now, so he can't really keep up tank production at this point, which is going to be crucial because there's now a ton of Banelings on the map. And here they are actually running in.
Into the only mining base of Ensare. Here they come!
In the bottom and taking out almost all the SCVs and Marines to boot, and the Zerglings clean up, and the command goes down. GG! Ensare has been taken out 2-0 by the challenger Revival. And Oops Lee, the coach of TSL over here, giving a modest but proud nod as his player.
Ensare looking a little bit disappointed. But the crowd here is getting wild because that game was intense.
That was ridiculous.
Whew.
Wow.
I gotta take a break from Old Trap.
Ring King Prime sitting over here too. He was even excited by that game. He was watching it. That was crazy. That was amazing.
Sick.
Both players made a lot of mistakes, but
in those tense situations, in those moments where you're barely mining, you're like, if I make one more drone and he attacks me, I'm gonna die. And you're like trying to decide what to do, and you make some bad decisions. You make some really aggressive and kind of haphazard decisions, but you just have to, and it's so tense, and both players are so close to dying. There were times in that game where I thought Ensare's got no chance. There were times in that game where I thought Revival's got no chance.
Exactly. It's really easy to get sloppy in those situations too. Especially, I can't believe that Ensare made such a game of it after
killing the hatchery.
Yeah, I almost forgot for a minute. I'm like, wait a second, there was something that happened. Oh yeah, Revival killed his whole base. Oh yeah, and then he killed all of his bases back. It was like, and then it still went on for another like 15 minutes. So that was absolutely insane. You got to hand to Ensare, making a real good attempt at winning the game despite losing like everything he had for a little bit there.
Yeah, I think he got a little overconfident, and Revival got a little overconfident, threw away his Mutalisks.
Yeah,
some really funky situations in that game.
That was painful to watch. Oh, man.
Well, that's a 2-0, though, for Revival. And Ensare showing some kind of iffy mid to late game situations, except that second game, the late game, he made some pretty good decisions. It was macro, though, and both games was not impressive, to say the least.
Not impressive. I think despite winning here, Revival is going to have a pretty tough time. I believe the way that the brackets work out, he's going to be playing Hongen in the next round, in round of 32. I think he's going to have to step it up a little bit for that match.
Yeah, he's going to have to make sure he doesn't make as many sloppy decisions. Against Hongen, he'll kill you if you mess up. He'll just slap you down with his blink stalkers.
He'll shank you when you're not looking.
Hongen's not that mean. He's not a shanker.
He's not really a shanker.
Well, he's a slapper. He'll slap you down with those blink stalkers.
MC is a shanker.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, we're going to have a quick break before Fruit Dealer versus Ace. So do not go anywhere for more than 2 minutes.